Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the October 29th edition of Carolina Week.
I'm Jonathan O. UNC students witnessed the tragic fire at Ocean Isle Beach. I'll have their story.
We'll show you how some students feel about John Edwards' campaign location and talk about the resulting controversy surrounding the story.
In sports, one undefeated Tar Heel team could be on the road to a conference title.
Weathercaster Mallory Nichols will have your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and a tantalizing tale about tequila. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Hello, and welcome to the Monday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Sarah Huffman.
And I'm Adam Rue. Thank you for joining us. The mayor of Ocean Isle Beach says investigators might never know what caused Sunday's beach house fire that killed 6 college students from the University of South Carolina and 1 from Clemson. Our Johnny O joins us from the studio, and Johnny, there's a Chapel Hill connection to this story.
That's right, Adam. More than a dozen college students were at that beach house for the weekend, with many more in the surrounding houses, including several Tar Heels. According to officials, the fire broke out Sunday morning just before 7 a.m., and within minutes the blaze consumed the entire house. UNC students Rebecca Wood and Nick Kane were in a nearby house for an APO service fraternity retreat. The horrific scenes of smoke billowing and embers flying toward the house they were staying in is an experience they'll never forget.
The smoke was so thick and the smell was just toxic. I'll never forget the smell of what it was like.
I just really want people to know that these kids were good kids, that they weren't, out of hand. They weren't doing anything that normal people do when they go to the beach.
As you said earlier, Adam, investigators haven't determined the cause of the fire, but the Brunswick County Emergency Services Director doesn't suspect arson.
Horrible situation. Johnny O reporting from the studio. Thank you.
Halloween is a couple of days away, and Chapel Hill officials have fire safety as a top concern. Officials are banning the use of pine straw in decorative displays within 10 feet of commercial buildings, including townhouses and apartments. Pine straw is used in many Halloween decorations, but it's a severe fire hazard because it catches on fire easily and burns quickly. Our Carla Babb wants to report about politics as a professional journalist, but after having the Edwards campaign angry for much of the past week, she's been the news in a national controversy. Carla, how did all of this begin?
Sarah, it all started when Edwards' campaign officials called me and demanded we pull a story I wrote about the location of campaign headquarters off the internet and not run it today.
Thank you very much for the contribution that he's made to the campaign.
UNC senior Nation Hahn is a finance intern for the campaign. He says the location shows that Edwards is a candidate for the average person.
He's not a candidate who's tied to Washington, D.C., but a candidate for everyone outside of Washington, D.C. as well.
But Southern Village isn't really for everyone. It's one of the most affluent areas in Chapel Hill, a city already known for its wealth. UNC senior and the Daily Tar Heel newspaper columnist James Dillard says the location conflicts with Edwards' campaign slogan of uniting rich and poor America.
The grass was all a little too green, and it just, to pick that place as your campaign center, when you're going to be the man who advocates on behalf of the poor, I just think, why not turn the media's attention to somewhere where there are huge, huge problems?
Hahn disagrees.
I don't think that where you set up your headquarters is emblematic of what your stance on the issues are. I mean, frankly, Chapel Hill is a relatively affluent area, period, so I don't know where they would rather him place his headquarters.
Dillard knows having money is a necessity to run a nationwide campaign.
All right, thanks a lot for your support. You think about the words of the poet, Jay-Z, who said, "I can't help the poor if I'm one of them, but I got rich and gave back." To me, that's the win-win. And so certainly a poor man can't run for president in this country. It's just not the way our political system is set up.
And he says it's not Edwards' $6 million mansion that turns him off.
The contradiction to me isn't necessarily that he's rich, because let's face it, poor people don't run for president, but to run on this campaign of uniting the two Americas, I'd like to see him step across the divide between the two.
But Hans says that Edwards does cross the divide, with his help for Katrina victims and efforts with the Center on Poverty, Work, and Opportunity in the UNC School of Law.
His work on the issues shows his commitment to poverty, not where his headquarters is located or where his house is located or anything like that.
The campaign's efforts to get us to kill the story gained national attention on Friday, and that attention has continued through today.
Carla, what have you learned from this situation?
Well, I have a much better understanding about the power of blogs. I've received calls and emails from media outlets across the U.S. and even from a reporter in Pakistan.
Carla Babb, live in the newsroom. Thank you, Carla.
Political reporting professor Leroy Towns joins us now in the studio. It was an entry on his blog that alerted area and national media to the controversy. Professor Towns, what can we as students learn from all of this?
Well, I think a couple things. One is that stories need to be accurate. There was a small inaccuracy in the YouTube version of this story, which made it somewhat more difficult to defend when charges came from the Edwards camp that it was a partisan attack on them. Secondly, I think this is a lesson in how the internet and blogs and YouTube have become so dominant in politics and journalism.
And Professor Towns, I'm guessing there's something for political types to learn as well.
Yes, that's right. I think that the basic PR tenet, the basic tenet of campaigning and politics is that if you find yourself in a hole, you should stop digging. And one of the reasons this story got to be as big as it did is because the Edwards campaign forgot to stop digging. They kept pushing, kept trying to get the story killed, and as a result of that, it turned it from a local Chapel Hill story into a national story.
So what does all this say about the role of blogs in the political process?
Blogs and YouTube have become very dominant in politics, in both politics and journalism. The reason that I would guess that the Edwards campaign was so worried about the story originally was it was on YouTube. YouTube has become a big force in politics. YouTube videos have sunk some campaigns, including the Senate campaign last year in Virginia. And so it's not surprising that the staff at the Edwards campaign would be so nervous about that. Blogs are also important. Blogs are important in journalism, but while this story was broken on the blog, it was mainstream media, newspapers, television, radio that carried the story nationally.
Political journalism professor Leroy Towns, thank you for joining us.
Flu season might be right around the corner.
But coming up, find out why that's not the only nasty illness you should worry about right now.
Downtown Chapel Hill restaurants offer over 15 different cuisines. From the far corners of the world to simple Southern delicacies, there are a variety of different dining experiences that will satisfy every appetite. No matter where you choose to go, you're sure to find a restaurant that is perfect for you. So, for your next night out, why go anywhere else but downtown Chapel Hill?
Don't walk. Don't walk. Walk. Do not enter. Hot dogs. Definitely like hot dogs. Motorcycle club. Everything must go. Ghostly ghouls. Don't look at that, Teddy. Body piercing. Ouch.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
There have been a number of cases in recent weeks of a drug-resistant staph infection called MRSA. Reporter Sierra Moore explores the chances of contracting the infection on a crowded college campus.
UNC freshman Logan Munson had the infection during the summer, and like many people, didn't realize how serious it was to begin with.
I showed my mom like 3 days after because it wasn't getting any better, and she said, you need to go see a doctor. So I saw the doctor once, and then right when I saw the doctor, he says, that's not a spider bite, it's a staph infection.
The Centers for Disease Control say most MRSA infections appear as boils on the skin that could be mistaken as spider bites. These are often painful and swollen and contain pus, which medical personnel should drain during treatment. Professor of Epidemiology at UNC School of Public Health, Dr. David Weber, says MRSA can affect people in the community in different ways.
The good news for the strains in the community is they tend to be susceptible to other antibiotics. The bad news is they contain a new gene called the PVL gene, which makes them much more invasive and causes much more serious skin infections.
Weber says these new MRSA strains in the community tend to be found more in adolescents. But he says college students living in dorms have no reason to be more concerned about contracting MRSA than getting other communicable diseases.
So far, I've not really heard of outbreaks in college dorms. Most of the outbreaks we see in college dorms tend to be diseases that are droplet or respiratory spread, things like meningococcal disease and influenza.
Doctors say the best way to keep from getting MRSA is to practice good hygiene, such as washing your hands, especially during flu season when it could add more complications with the infection.
People should be conscious of good hygiene, but MRSA is rarely fatal. In Chapel Hill, I'm Sierra Moore, Carolina Week.
How long has it been since you washed your hands? According to a recent study, not everyone is stepping up to the faucet often enough. Medical experts say washing our hands should be a part of the typical bathroom ritual, which prevents us from getting colds and germs. But only 66% of men wash their hands after using the bathroom, compared to 88% of women. The students we spoke to aren't surprised that women are more likely than men to wash their hands frequently.
I think that girls definitely wash their hands more because they tend to care a lot more about cleanliness than guys do.
Well, I guess I would say that girls probably wash their hands more, just because they always want to be like so prim and proper.
The dirty secret is out. Practicing good hygiene is ideal, and women are simply a bit more ideal. Take that, Adam.
All right. If Carolina Blue runs through your veins, this is the week to show it. Homecoming is in full swing. You can find events like a football toss and a cast cube. That's my kind of event. They're in the pit all this week. They culminate in Saturday's football game against the Maryland Terrapins. Students can also purchase homecoming t-shirts, get tickets for the Robert Randolph concert, or show support for King and Queen candidates. The General Alumni Association sponsors homecoming. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and one local organization wants us to know we're all part of helping end the cycle of abuse. The Family Violence Prevention Center of Orange County held a walk for family peace Sunday afternoon. Participants of all ages came out for the fundraiser. It ended in a celebration at the Hargrave Center in Carborough. There was plenty of food and entertainment for family fun, including a performance by the UNC Loreleis. Volunteer Lizzie Moran says the event brings attention to efforts aimed at preventing domestic violence.
Just bring the community together and raise awareness, and we just want everyone to realize that domestic violence is a real problem and it is a community problem.
The Family Violence Prevention Center has a 24-hour hotline for victims of domestic violence. You can find that number and information about how to volunteer on our website, carolinaweek.org.
You might want to think twice before downloading the latest album from your favorite artist. UNC administrators are cracking down on illegal file sharing after increasing complaints from the movie and music recording industries. First-time offenders meet with an administrator to learn about copyright policy and delete illegal files. Officials consider second offenses to be honor code violations. French exchange student Matthew Monick had his internet suspended for downloading Party Like a Rock Star.
We found an agreement just to cancel and delete the music I've downloaded and stop downloading music.
On the flip side, more than 13,000 students have signed up to use Ruckus, the legal and free alternative for downloading music on campus.
Before fall break, we told you about our friend Chiquita, and we're pleased to tell you she's found a new home. Now let's tell you about this week's featured pet. Meet Pablo, a 3.5-month-old pit bull mix. She might be young, but that doesn't mean high-strung. She's usually very calm, except when she finds the occasional ball of paper. She came to the shelter about a month ago, and now she's looking to be someone's loyal companion. For more information about how you can adopt Pablo or any of the other animals at the shelter, you can visit our website at carolinaweek.org. And now we're joined by weathercaster Mallory Nichols.
Hi. So Mallory, it's actually starting to feel like fall. It's been really chilly.
It is. It's nice cooler temperatures. Fall is finally here. I'll give you the latest on cooler temperatures in the 4-day forecast.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll put that out.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weather forecaster Mallory Nichols. I hope you put on more than just a light jacket when you headed out this morning, because it got a lot colder this morning than what we're used to. Fall is finally here, and we're starting to see a little more of those seasonal temperatures that we're used to. Also, the rest of the week, not much going on, which actually makes for a good Halloween. It's going to be pretty clear, colder temperatures, but as far as weather's concerned, pretty boring, no rain in the forecast. And then we'll also take a look at that cut and deficit we received this past weekend. If you go to the U.S. satellite and radar, you'll see right now that low cold front that moved in through our area over the weekend is starting to push off the coast a little bit, so not much is happening over us. If we take a closer look, you'll see we do have a little bit of clouds still in the area a little bit, but that is pushing more to the east and will be gone before the end of the day, and we won't be seeing much more clouds for the rest of the week. Go to the current satellite, or surface map, excuse me, you'll see that has pushed off, and we do have high pressure systems sitting out more to the west. That's going to influence our weather for the rest of the week, bringing us pretty much nothing but cool temperatures and no rain. We do want to take a look down here in the south. We do have a little bit of a tropical storm Noel starting to set up. As of right now, that's not going to affect us at all, but we do need to keep an eye on that, because if the cold front moving in the later part of the week doesn't push that out, it could affect us. So if we take a look at Wednesday's surface, that has started to move in, may have become a little bit of a hurricane. We're still sitting in a high pressure, but we do want to take a look out west. We do have a little bit of this low pressure system that's going to push east. That may bring us some colder temperatures later part of the week, but there's no rain associated with that right now. Take a look at the 4-day forecast. You'll see we do have for the whole week pretty much sunny temperatures. Those temperatures are going to start to decrease or increase a little bit for Wednesday and Thursday, and then go way down on Friday, hopefully with that cold front coming through. And then look at those low temperatures. It's pretty cold throughout the week, and especially Tuesday night, we want to make sure that we take a jacket, because there is a bit of a frost warning there. And then let's look at that deficit for our monthly precipitation. We have been in a pretty bad deficit lately, but if you look at this chart right here, you see for the last month, we are in a little bit of above normal as of right now. We do have a little bit, or an inch and a half of above normal of rain right there. So we are still in a deficit, but we are coming out of it a little bit, I guess, with the monthly precipitation being higher than normal. So things look good as far as that concerned. We do need a little bit more rain to help us get out of that, but we're working slowly on it. So.
Well, that is absolutely good news, and I'm going to have to go dig for more sweaters with how cold it's getting.
Yeah, we have to do that, definitely.
So glad fall's here. Mallory, thanks.
Thank you.
We're all happy to see it raining and pouring in the Triangle area these days, but the only thing pouring in Raleigh on Saturday was wine. Hundreds of wine lovers came out to celebrate the inaugural Capital City Cheers Wine Festival. People spent the day sampling North Carolina wines, eating some finger food, and enjoying lots of live music. Local artists were there, and they helped show off their handmade jewelry and old-fashioned dolls. And Eager Feet competed in the Carolina Crush Stomp-Off. Show owner Greg Niven says the festival is all about sustainable agriculture.
The fresh ingredients that you see that are here at this show and at this festival, and the wineries that are here, those are the things that we need to support. You need to think globally and eat, drink, and sleep locally.
Niven says the group will have several more events next year to highlight North Carolina agriculture.
And we're joined now by sportscaster Mark Lexick.
And Mark, I was hoping for a good performance from the football team this weekend.
It was ridiculous. Very disappointing, to say the least. But coming up in sports, the football game was depressing, to say the least, as the Heels got ran over by Wake Forest. We'll take an unfortunate dip back into this dark chapter of UNC football.
Come on. And it's a block. What? What kind of kick was that? You've got to be kidding me. Hey, hot shot. Sounds like you know a lot about the game. You should put that to use. Come on, let's go take a jog.
There are plenty of ways that you can volunteer in your community.
Just figure out what you like to do and pass it on to others.
And you know what? You can have a lot of fun doing it too.
Pick those knees up. Keep going. Pick those legs up. Let's go.
All right now, show them how to kick that ball.
To find out ways you can volunteer in your community, log on to teensvolunteer.org.
Okay, Ben, here we go, buddy. That was great, Ben. This time, just try to kick the ball.
Do what you like to do. Volunteer.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Mark Oleksic. The football team went to Winston-Salem to take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest, the defending ACC champions. First quarter, Wake already up by 3. Josh Adams takes the handoff, and he is in for the touchdown. It's 10-0 Wake Forest. In the second quarter, Connor Barth puts home his 38-yard field goal, making the score 10-3. Now, on the ensuing kickoff, Kevin Marion takes it at the 2. He's got blocks. He's got room, running room that is, and he is gone, nothing but green, all the way to the end zone for a 98-yard interception return for a touchdown. Now, here in the fourth quarter, Carolina's fighting back. TJ Yates looks right. He's got Bobby Rome for the 11-yard touchdown pass. And on UNC's next possession, Yates looks right, passes right, but it's picked off. Picked off by Aaron Curry, and Curry, again, seeing nothing but green, taking it all the way to the house for a 77-yard interception return for a touchdown. And Wake went on to win 37-10, making some Tar Heel players think it's time for a change.
We're at the top of the hill waiting to get over. You know, we're just little things, mental errors that keeps killing us, and we just got to fix it.
So Saturday's football game was terrible if you're a Carolina fan, but of course, there is always basketball. If you got a copy of Friday's USA Today, you see the man himself, Tyler Hansbrough, sporting some serious guns, letting the world know that the coaches poll ranked Carolina #1 for the preseason. Their first game is against Shaw this Saturday. The women's soccer team is getting things back on track after a shaky start to the season. Yael Averbuch knocked in a pair of goals for the 7th-ranked North Carolina on Thursday to secure the win. It's the Heels' 7th win in a row and improves their ACC record to 8-1. The Wolfpack would provide North Carolina some much-needed warm-ups as they prepare to take on 3rd-ranked Virginia. It was Averbuch's 4th game-winning goal for the season. The men's soccer team took on the Clemson Tigers Sunday as the Heels tried to improve upon their 2-3 conference record. Michael Callahan on the move crosses it to Bill Dworsky, and Dworsky gets the goal. Carolina's up 1-0. And less than a minute later, Clemson's Michael Buckles has a free kick and an easy goal. We're tied at 1. Speaking of easy shots, a Clemson foul gives Zach Lloyd a penalty kick, sending the goalie to the grass and the ball to the net for Carolina's 2nd goal. Now in the second half, Callahan, a free kick off the foot and off Dworsky's head in for the goal. Heels lead by 2, but don't get too excited, Tar Heels. Here come the Tigers, clawing their way back into the game, and Carolina's Andre Sherrard gets called for the foul. This gives Buckles a penalty kick, and he lasers it in for the goal, but that's it for the Tigers. The Heels hold on for the Carolina victory, 3-2.
This one we had to grind out a little bit, because we just had a hard time finding our rhythm in this game. And when you have those games, and you do have them once in a while, you still need to find ways to win.
The field hockey team wrapped up an impressive regular season with an 18-0 record. Sarah Moore gives us a look at what the team has gone through and what the Heels still have ahead.
Well, we're delighted that we went undefeated in the regular season. And of course, I told the girls, congratulations for that, and let's put that one to bed.
The team might put that one to bed, but to everyone else, an undefeated regular season is still worth mentioning. The field hockey team made 83 goals during the season, while letting in only 9 goals from opponents.
In the beginning of the season, we let in a couple really weak goals against weaker teams, and then we got better and better. So I think it was important to get the shutouts because it showed our improvement.
The Heels recorded 12 shutouts during the regular season. Coach Shelton says these shutouts came from more than just a great goalie.
Got great defenders, and we defend actually collectively. So the forwards defend, and that's been a strength of ours. The midfielders defend, the backs defend, the goalie defends. So it's been a total team effort, and I'm proud of the group.
In addition to a tough defense, the field hockey team depends on leadership from the seniors.
You know, I have 7 seniors, and it's very rare that we have 7 seniors, and especially 7 outstanding seniors.
I think just every day in practice, if I bring it and I play with intensity, it definitely rubs off on other players. So I feel like that's more of my role, being a leader by example.
The field hockey team's success came right here during the regular season. Next, the team will venture to Boston for the ACC tournament.
We just entered the 2nd season, and everybody's 0-0.
The Heels have a bye until the semifinals of the tournament. Carolina has already beaten all of the opponents they might face this weekend. In Chapel Hill, I'm Sarah Moore, Carolina Week Sports.
Awesome. The volleyball team was in Atlanta over the weekend, taking on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. The Heels lost the match 3-2 in a close 5th game with a score of 17-15. Becca Brinkley led Carolina with a 69% hitting percentage. The Lady Heels will return to action on Tuesday when they host NC State. So kind of a mixed bag as far as wins-losses for Carolina sports this weekend, but you know, we'll take what we can get for right now.
Absolutely, and it's crunch time for a lot of these sports teams. Definitely great to see them at the end of the season.
Thank you, Mark. You know, maybe we should call this next story Bar Wars.
Coming up, why people in Mexico care about the type of tequila you might be drinking.
Taught me. She's
averaging 18%. Balance the budget. Increasing clouds for.
UNC TV. Your remote stops here.
Do you care what kind of tequila is in your margarita? Reporter Monica Carper went to Franklin Street to find out what some people think about officials coming down on knockoff tequila.
You can be sure you're getting real tequila at any bar or liquor store in Orange County, but that's not the case in other parts of the U.S. The growing popularity of tequila led some distillers to slap the name on products makers say is not genuine tequila. Under the 1994 North American Free Trade Agreement, only liquor made from the blue agave plant found only in the western Mexican state of Jalisco can be called tequila. Authentic tequila must have at least 51% agave, and you can find the amount right on the label. The Tequila Regulatory Council is putting pressure on knockoffs to stop using the tequila label. Some worry knockoffs could affect the tequila name and ultimately affect its sales. Tequila drinkers in Chapel Hill have mixed opinions.
Tequila should be regulated. Because if it's really bad knockoff tequila, it shouldn't be sold.
It's America. We have sort of a free market capitalism, so I don't know if it's right to take them off the shelves.
It's about the dollar. How much does it cost? How much are you willing to spend for quality tequila? Some people don't care if it's quality or not.
You probably can't tell the difference between something that's 100% blue agave and something that's not.
I'm not a huge tequila drinker, but what I've had, I can definitely taste the difference between good tequilas.
Bottom shelf, like the handle you get for like $6.95, tastes like garbage. But the top shelf stuff, smooth, so smooth.
For tequila drinkers who care about what's in their margaritas, it's either the real thing or nothing. In Chapel Hill, I'm Monica Carper, Carolina Week.
You know, it surprises me that people would take the time to track down the fake tequila from the real tequila.
Yeah, and it also really surprises me in a college town because, we were hearing the students say that they can tell the difference between bottom shelf and top shelf liquor, but college students are on a budget. Nobody's paying attention to top shelf and bottom shelf liquor when they're heading to the liquor store. They're looking for the cheapest bottle.
Yeah, they really don't care.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.